So I'm here to share a secret with you. There is an invisible revolution taking place, and it's changing the world. Now, the incredible thing about this revolution is it's all about seemingly ordinary women doing seemingly ordinary everyday things, and yet they're creating extraordinary change. Now, you're probably asking yourself, who are these revolutionary women? If what they're doing is so world-changing, why is it all so invisible? And exactly how are they changing the world? Well, let me take you back to where it started for me. As a young university business student, I remember coming across this ad that completely blew my mind. Men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return doubtful, honour and recognition in the case of success. I am, of course, talking about the ad by Ernest Shackleton and his expedition to the Antarctic. Crazy, isn't it? Can you imagine? Now, I don't know about you, but I remember thinking, who in their right mind would want to go on a journey like that? Little did I know, I would one day go on an even crazier journey that would change my life forever. So when I graduated, I started my career in marketing, and I evolved into a position as a business analyst. And at age 24, my job description would change yet again. To lead role, must be able to work in constantly challenging environments, no workplace recognition, no scope for promotion, no training given, no breaks, no holiday, no sick pay, must be on call 24/7, no benefits, no pension. Oh, and by the way, no pay, 0. Now, you're perhaps asking, who would accept a job like that? Me. I chose it. Crazy? Maybe. But there are billions of us in this job all around the world. I am, of course, talking about being a mother. Or I could be talking about being a father, because actually this is not about gender or even biology. I'm talking about all primary caregivers. And so on top of my full-time career, I diversified into the business of raising and shaping other human beings. And for the next 6 years, my career evolved and I moved into business consultancy. And if I may say so, I did a brilliant job of combining the two: successful corporate career and motherhood. Until my daughter turned 6. And at that point, something changed for me. Imagine seeing an ad that says, female pioneers wanted for solo expedition, mistakes guaranteed, multiple failures likely, no guaranteed income. In fact, it's going to cost you money. You will feel lonely and terrified most days, and your successes and accomplishments will remain completely invisible to most. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, that was a bit like those men who would have replied to the Ernest Shackleton ad. That to me was my internal calling. Now, some called me crazy, even to my face, as I handed in my notice on a successful career and walked away from my main breadwinning salary to start a business. A business that had no money, no clients, and nobody had even heard of, not even me. And as crazy as it seemed to others, I knew that it's what I needed to do if I was going to continue having a life that felt as successful on the inside as it appeared to others looking in from the outside. So off I went on this terror-citing journey, half terrifying, half exciting, of combining being the best mum I could be to my children Carly and Liam, while starting and growing a business that worked for me, that gave me the flexibility, balance, sense of purpose, freedom of choice that I was craving personally and professionally. Now, for many years, I thought I was alone. You see, back then when I started this journey 15 years ago, the technology that would begin to allow things to become visible hadn't yet been invented. I know it's hard to believe, but can you imagine there was once a world without Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, email even, the internet. And today we have the digital revolution to thank and the birth of social media for enabling these growing numbers of women who are able to start a business from home and provide us with these platforms so we can begin to connect and see each other and see what we're doing. And I remember thinking, somebody needs to tell the world about this. This is big. This is bigger than a community. It's more than a movement. It's literally a revolution. So who are these revolutionary women? I'd like to introduce you to Gail Berry of Blossom and Berry, Saffron Jackson of Zure Dolls, Chloe Dimitriadis of Biolia, and Gary Kubert of Holy Llama Natural Products. All have taken huge leaps of faith to leave highly successful careers in the city, to invest heavily as a single mother, to take up the reins in tough industry, and to fly in the face of cultural expectation. All to start and lead incredible, groundbreaking, award-winning businesses, whilst starting and raising a family. Now these are just a few of the faces of the invisible revolution. There are literally millions of us all around the world. So if there's millions of us doing all this great world-changing stuff, how come it's also invisible? Well, I remember meeting one very successful female entrepreneur who would help me begin to understand the answer to this question. And I remember we were meeting for coffee and I was really excited. And I said, I'm so excited to meet you. I love the work you do supporting female entrepreneurs. Really, I can really relate to it. I do a very similar thing, supporting specifically mums in business. Oh yes, she said, I've seen the women on your website. Bunch of jam makers, really. Okay, I'm going to admit, I was shocked. I was shocked and I was speechless in that moment. I didn't really know how to reply. And it wasn't until I was driving home from that meeting and I thought, I wish this woman had seen Mrs. Darlington. Mrs. Darlington was a poultry farmer with her husband Tom. And one day she had a few broken eggs and she was wondering what to do with them. So she went home to her kitchen and made a few jars of lemon curd, watched by her young daughters, Wendy and Sarah. And a local market stall owner kindly said, look, just pop them in the corner and we'll see if they sell, which they did. Just a jam maker, right? Well, had Mrs. Darlington judged those early results with the same perception as others, she too may have been really dismissive about her small acorn of a business. And thank goodness she didn't. Because forward wind 30 years, and Mrs. Darlington is a global business making over 15,000 jars a day. And where daughters Wendy and Sarah, both now mothers themselves, also work in this incredible family business. But you see, that's the challenge, isn't it? That those who are not a primary caregiver themselves, or perhaps don't understand the bigger picture, find it difficult, virtually impossible, to fully see the difference that mums in business are making. So what is that difference? How are mums in business changing the world? Let me ask you a question. Have you ever stood and thrown a stone into a pond or a lake and watched those seemingly never-ending ripples it creates? Well, everything we say and do, even think, has a ripple effect, doesn't it? Positive or negative, in the world around us. And if we go back and think about since the beginnings of the Industrial Revolution, the definition of success has very much had one core intent: financial gain. A profit model based on more, preferably in the shortest amount of time possible. And if we're honest, largely irrespective of the costs. The world's changed, and we've reached a tipping point. We don't have to look very far, do we, to see the impact of this blinkered approach to success on our health, society, and the state of the planet. And the Invisible Revolution is about a group of women who want to do business differently. Mums in business are showing up through a different measure of success. Now, I've not only had the honour of being a mum in business for the last 15 years, but also of connecting, coaching and mentoring thousands of these women. And I'm here to share what they've taught me about the power of the invisible to change the world. As I said, mums in business are showing up through what we call Posiripple profits. A measure of the net impact we create in the world over time. Impact that occurs in 3 stages. Firstly, economic. Money does matter. Having said that, creating a 7-figure global empire overnight is not going to be most mum in business's dream. But it doesn't mean that we're any less serious about creating a financially viable business than the next business person. And the numbers show this. So eBay commissioned some research back in 2015, and it showed that mums in business made £7.2 billion and created over 200,000 jobs in just 12 months, and in the UK alone. Impressive numbers, right? And what if we add in the hidden value of motherhood, that if we're honest, we're quite quick to underestimate in the Western world. Bidvine 2017 did some research that showed that if we took a homemaker's role and gave it a salary, it would total as much as £80,000 a year each. Now add that to the bottom line of economies around the world. But the impact of mums in business is about so much more than the money alone. Next comes social impact. Yes, each of these women have created a business that's making a positive difference for their clients, communities, and society at large. But the impact of a mum in business goes above and beyond the boundaries of her business. If we think about it, as a business owner, would you agree there are many things that we can outsource? Motherhood is not one of them. And a mum in business is a leader, a role model, an educator for these young people during the most critical formative years of their lives. She creates the most influential learning and development zone. And as a mother pursuing her definition of success, she's teaching these young people through example, not just rhetoric, about things like self-belief, creativity, innovation, resiliency, the power of vulnerability, authenticity, all of these essential life and business skills for today and for the future. And the impact goes further. It continues with creating a new legacy. You see, becoming a mother gives us a superpower of anticipating and caring about what happens to our children in the future. And in our businesses, it's the ones who don't sit around the boardroom table and who don't have a voice who are our most influential shareholders. I hope you'd agree that our children need to inherit so much more from us than just our money. we have a responsibility to pass on new wisdom, a new perspective, an updated narrative to empower future generations. So the invisible revolution is a huge part of leading future generations into an age of empowerment, where each and every one of us recognises the role we play in shaping the future. But I get it. You know, the reality is it takes time to make the invisible visible, doesn't it? And we can't change what other people choose to see or think. But let's not forget, there is one group who are watching us. They see us every day, watching our every move, our children. So in the words of Confucius, to put the world in order, we must first put the nation in order. To put the nation in order, we must first put the family in order. And to put the family in order, we must cultivate our personal life. We must set our hearts right. So change in the world starts right here, with you and me. So to all mums in business, I'd like to invite you to do 3 things. Firstly, see your value. No matter what stage of the journey you're at, no matter how seemingly small compared to what's out there, know what a difference you are already making on so many levels. Secondly, see what matters. Know your own definition of success and wealth and what having a rich life really means to you and your loved ones. And don't lose sight of it as you pursue success in the way that's right for you. Thirdly, see the bigger picture. You are not alone. You're part of a powerful collective. So together, I'd like to invite you to join me, and let's make the invisible visible. Thank you.